This is Investment Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Daily live streaming interactive featuring Mrs. Backup. Subscribe, hit the notification, smash the likes. Now, here's Backup Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to Investment Perspectives, everybody. I'm Brad Kimes. You can follow me at Backup Bradley on Twitter above on the screen. Okay, I'm going to lay out a few things for you guys, and maybe we're still a ways out. I don't know, but I just feel like there is potentially a big narrative here that we should be following, or maybe it's even starting to reveal itself to us. All I know is I want to lay out some of this. Now, some of this information I'm going to share with you, you've seen a little bit before, maybe in some other videos, but maybe not in the running context of this. And I want to share it with you. So we're going to do that now. Before we start, however, I do want to share a great article that I saw here. And look, there are lessons to be learned. And I'll tell you something, you know, the wisest people in the world are not afraid to learn lessons from others. Whales versus IRS, powerful crypto lessons learned with infographic. Now I'm going to go right down to this. This is an article that Clinton Donnelly had, who is the crypto tax fixer, and he is the tax fixer. I don't mind telling you. Okay, now he lays out here, there are two American crypto whales shine a spotlight on powerful crypto lessons learned from the hand of insufficient tax and crypto defense against the IRS. Find out how to avoid the mistakes and poor advice. Take these two crypto whales for over $1.3 million in tax debt and penalties. It's a big deal. He shows you here some of these illustrations, and you guys can find this on my Twitter. I suggest you read the whole thing. I'm going to get down here to the nitty gritty and show you what's going on. Taxpayer filed tax return for April 15, 2018, reporting owing just over $1 million in taxes on their crypto gains. They did not pay the taxes, hoping instead to pay over time using the IRS monthly installment agreement. IRS Collections Office rejected their application because the couple could pay their taxes in full. Now looky here. Here's the lesson and takeaways. The court case offers the following basic lessons. The law requires taxes be paid in full, even if that means selling your crypto assets or borrowing against them. The IRS can seize assets to force taxpayers to pay. Now, we might feel like this is a young market and we've got room to run, but I'm telling you guys, IRS installment agreements are available for debts under $100,000 because of personal financial statements is not required. This loophole is intended to simplify debt collection. Significant interest and penalties pile up while waiting on the IRS and appeals process. While dickering over the installment agreement rules, the initial debt of just over $1 million grew by $80,000 at the end of 2018. Taxpayer then hired tax lawyers to argue their case before the U.S. court. Tax lawyer costs roughly $10,000 or more are dwarfed by an additional $170,000 in penalties and interest. This was the hidden cost of arguing a weak case in court. I mean, this is a powerful way to learn from someone else's mistake. Two powerful lessons and takeaways here. The most powerful tool for fixing a tax liability is an amended tax return. Amended tax return. Think about that. That is not a complicated matter. They simply could have amended their tax return. Think about that. Another one. Like-kind exchange is a potent tool for crypto investors to reduce or eliminate their pre-2018 crypto tax liabilities. So during the run-up of 2017, most traders thought the crypto-to-crypto trade shouldn't be taxed until cash-out like-kind exchange treatment does exactly this. The cumulative gain on crypto-to-crypto trades is deferred until finally traded for cash. Guys, make sure that you reach out. I have a link under all my descriptions and in the comment sections for the crypto tax fixer Clinton Donnelly. Reach out to him if you don't have somebody in your corner. I'm telling you, no one knows more than he does about this matter. that I've come across to date. He has helped defer more than $40 million in gains using like-kind exchange. I'm telling you, this guy knows what's happening. All right, let's get into this thing, and shout out to him for all that great information. I'm going to play this 1-minute clip from Chris Larson, and then I'm going to take you through some things. Like I said, some you've seen, some you haven't, but in the manner and context that I'm going to bring them to you with the points I'm going to make. And I want you guys to make sure you leave plenty of comments on your thoughts on this information. Let's listen now to the 1-minute clip from Chris.
But the U.S. government also needs to get a lot more involved in blockchain. We're slow to the game. China is so far ahead of us. You know, they just announced they're going to spend $1.4 trillion on technology. Payments and blockchain, clearly part of that strategy. You could even argue the move to control Hong Kong more closely gives them an advantage in controlling 2 of the global financial centers. U.S. only has 1, right? So the U.S. has got to change its view that goes from 17 and 18, which was all about these horrible ICOs, initial coin offerings, which were terrible, had to be shut down. They effectively shut them down. We won that war. Now we got to switch to, okay, how do we compete with China? How do we keep up? And, you know, till now, frankly, U.S. regulators have actually helped China by officially giving clarity to the 2 protocols effectively controlled by Chinese miners, Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Wow. U.S. regulators up until now have actually helped China by giving clearance to the 2 protocols that are controlled primarily in China. What a statement. Now listen, I'm going to take you through a few more pieces of information in here. But one piece I want to take you through, or one point I want to make about this. If this crypto market is so decentralized, and in fact, while he's making the point about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and if they're so decentralized and they run their own universe and their own ecosystem, how come they haven't taken off yet? Now, Bitcoin just had a halving. Where's the big explosion? Ethereum is all smart contracts preparing to switch from proof of work to proof of stake. How come the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum alone has not pulled away from the rest of the market? Pretty interesting question right there. Now, yesterday I put out a video where we talked about the designation and the definition of why there is an X in XRP. We used a 2018, or I think it was 2018 or a year or 2 more ago here from David Schwartz, where he gave the explanation that when XRP, any currency or asset is not issued by a country, the first letter must be an X when you're dealing with currencies. And that's why there is an X in front of RP. Well, I find that interesting because it was this recent opinion by this gentleman right here, the former CFTC chairman, deemed a crypto dad because he's an advocate for crypto, now heading the Digital Dollar Project, about to speak on June 30th in front of Congress, is also counsel to Wilkie Barr and Ripple, has a professional opinion that XRP is not only not a security, but a currency. Well, David Schwartz clearly explains a couple years ago here or more that they've all along understood this, and that's why there's an X in front of RP, because they don't see it as a commodity the way Bitcoin and Ethereum is seen, the way Chris Larson just described. Here's another interesting thing to note. Just a couple weeks ago, we had the congressional virtual meeting that happened, webinar. Congressman Stephen Lynch supports and calls for a SandBox, a regulatory sandbox, and it to be piloted by the OCC, the Office of Comptroller of Currency. Huh. Interestingly enough, Joseph Otting was the former head of the OCC, replaced by good friend, confidant, Brian Brooks, the former chief legal officer for Coinbase, takes Joseph Otting's place as the head of the OCC. So David Schwartz has always understood, and obviously everyone else at Ripple, that XRP is a currency. He defines it for everyone in Quora. Legal counsel for Ripple understands it to be a currency. And now we see Congress calling for a regulatory sandbox to be piloted by the head of currency, which is the Office of Comptroller of Currency, and also the head of the entire national banking industry. Quite interesting. This is quite interesting too, because this is a picture from 2015. And if you don't recognize the gentleman, I'm going to tell you who they are. On the left is Brian Brooks. In the middle is Steve Mnuchin. And on the right, just on the inside, is Joseph Otting. On the end is David Fowler. Now, I don't know where David Fowler is, but 3 out of 4 isn't bad. These gentlemen worked together at One West Bank, which was Steve Mnuchin's bank, I believe. And now we have Steve Mnuchin as the head of the U.S. Treasury. Joseph Otting has just left the OCC. And Brian Brooks comes in from Coinbase. Well, isn't that interesting? And by the way, Brian Brooks has an amazing outlook on how to develop a national charter for cryptocurrency so we can have a more uniform approach when it comes to implementing digital assets. When I hear Chris Larson talk in here and make these points, and says that 1.4 trillion has been put out by China, and a portion of that has gone towards blockchain and technology, I have to say to myself, well, first of all, that is a quite staggering number, and I don't know how he knows it, but that's pretty fascinating. I can't help but think, he's asking for a call to action here, because they stopped short of Bitcoin and Ethereum. They stopped short of XRP getting a decision or a classification. Now, when we think about the sandbox that's been called for and to be piloted by the OCC for crypto, think about the notion that if they get this designation and they get this sandbox, with Brian Brooks at the head of the OCC, doesn't it just make sense that what Chris Larson's message may really be is give us the currency designation we need so we can get the sandbox that we need, so then we can see the whole market move, because the whole market will move when we get all the money, because this is about all the money. Isn't that what this is about? All the money? In fact, let me get that up for you guys. I want you to see that. That's what this is about. All the money. I have a great sneaky suspicion that this might be what your regulatory sandbox might end up looking like, with the universal ledger, XRPLedger, being the sand in the sandbox, or being the framework of it, rather. This is getting quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen. There's a new narrative out, and it's not only to get us a classification because China's getting a jump start. It's give us that currency designation so we can then see the whole market move, because everything will happen on the ledger, which will become the new sandbox, the regulatory sandbox, as we move forward. Potentially. That's the idea, notion. Certainly what's on my mind to date. One thing I know is for sure, right or wrong, I think we're headed in the right direction. and it's not going near fast enough for me, and I know for you too, and it's not even going up fast enough for Chris. So that's where we are today, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to run that by and lay those things out in that manner. But it is a pretty compelling case, I do think. The XRP is certainly a currency, and we just need that designation. And maybe just then, once we get that, maybe just maybe, we'll see the whole market move. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment, share it with somebody you know, and we'll catch you all in the next one.